I never thought I'd be the guy writing this kind of post, but here I am. Honestly, I'm still trying to process how everything went down, and I need to get this off my chest. Maybe someone out there has been through something similar and can tell me I'm not completely lost. Or maybe I just need to vent because right now, I feel like I've been punched in the gut, and I'm trying not to drown in it. It all started last month during the company trip. We've been planning it for months, an overnight at a fancy hotel resort, team building stuff, some dinners, a few drinks, the usual. I was excited at first. It was supposed to be fun, a chance to loosen up, maybe even unwind with my wife, Lisa. We'd been together for 5 years and I thought everything was solid. She's smart, charming, and honestly, I'd always trusted her. That's what makes this so fucking brutal. I first noticed the red flags a week before the trip but brushed them aside. She'd been extra secretive with her phone, texting late at night when she thought I was asleep. I'd catch her slipping her phone into her purse quickly like she didn't want me to see her messages. Small things, maybe paranoid, but I knew her patterns. She'd always been a little suspicious about her privacy, but I shrugged it off. I wanted to trust her. Besides, I had no reason not to. The night of the trip was the first real sign that something was off. We all checked into the hotel, a sleek place with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the city skyline. I remember feeling excited, the buzz of anticipation in my chest. Lisa and I had a room with a king-sized bed, and I just finished unpacking when I caught her sneaking her phone out of her purse again. Her fingers tapped furiously on the screen and her face was tense, almost guilty. "Who are you texting so late?" I asked, voice sharper than I meant it to be. She hesitated, then forced a smile. "Just work stuff, babe, nothing to worry about." I didn't believe her, not even close, but I didn't want to ruin the night on suspicion alone. We went to dinner, drank a bit, and I kept catching her stealing glances at her phone. Maybe I was paranoid, maybe I was just tired, but something felt wrong. Later that night, I decided to check her messages myself. She left her phone on the bedside table while she went to the bathroom. I picked it up and unlocked it. The code was something simple, a birthday or her favorite number. I scrolled through her texts, heart pounding in my chest. What I saw made my stomach turn. There were messages from Jake. Yeah, Jake, the guy I've considered my best friend for years. They'd been exchanging flirty messages, talking about how hot she looked and how much fun they'd have if no one was watching. I saw a picture too, her in a hotel robe, smiling at him in a way she never smiled at me. That's when I knew. They'd been sleeping together for who knows how long, and I was just the last to find out. I swiped the phone and sat there, feeling a cold sweat break out on my forehead. My palms were slick, and I could feel my throat tightening. Every muscle in my body was tense. I wanted to scream, to punch something, but I just stared at the screen and felt my world shatter. This was betrayal on a level I'd never expected, my wife, my best friend, all wrapped up in one sick package. I slipped the phone back onto the table, not bothering to wake her. I just sat there, eyes fixed on the dark window, trying to process what I'd stumbled on. How could they do this? How could someone I trusted so completely betray me like that? My mind was racing, but one thing was clear. I couldn't just let this go, not without some kind of reckoning. I knew I had to come up with a plan. I couldn't confront her without evidence, and I definitely couldn't go to Jake with this, at least not yet. Whatever my next move was, I had to be smart about it. The worst part, I didn't even know where to start trusting anyone anymore. Who's honest? Who's safe? The only thing I know is that I'm not staying quiet, not anymore. As I sat there, my heart pounding, I realized I'd crossed a line I couldn't undo. And the worst part, I had no idea what I was going to do next. The next morning was a blur. I barely slept, my mind kept circling back to that damn message thread on her phone. I kept hearing her laugh, that fake, rehearsed laugh I'd seen in her eyes last night. It was like a slap every time I remembered how she'd looked at him, like she wanted to kiss him, not just fool around. I got up early, even though I was exhausted. My stomach was tied in knots, a mix of anger, betrayal, and a deep, gnawing sense of loss. I knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I had to figure out what to do next, and I had to do it fast before they found another way to screw me over. I crept out of the room quietly, grabbing my phone. I needed proof, hard evidence that I could hold onto, that I could show her if I decided to confront her later. I wasn't planning to go in blind. I still didn't know whether I wanted to confront her right then or just leave it for a while. Let her sweat, see how she reacted when I finally did say something. I tiptoed to the bathroom, locked the door behind me, and opened her purse. Yeah, I know, it's sneaky, but I didn't care. I needed to see if she'd left anything behind, some sign of her guilt. That's when I saw the hotel key card. It wasn't just for our room, it was for room 405, the same room they'd spent the night in. My stomach dropped even more. I could feel the blood rush to my head. She'd lied to me about everything. She'd been sneaking out, lying about work and sleeping with him, Jake, my best friend. I looked around, then spotted her phone charger. I unplugged it, knowing I'd find more if I searched through her messages. I kept my movements slow, deliberate, trying not to make noise. That's when I saw it, a small note tucked in her purse, a handwritten message from Jake. Can't wait to see you tonight. Last night was just the start. It was like a punch to the gut. All this time I'd thought they were just messing around, having some fun on the side. But no, they'd planned something, and I had the evidence. I felt a rush of heat in my face, a mix of fury and betrayal. How could they? How could they do this to me and think I would? Find out? I snapped a few pictures of everything, her messages, the hotel key, the note. Then I sat back, trembling, trying to breathe. I didn't want to just lose my mind. No, I had to think, plan my next move. I couldn't let this slide, not without some kind of payback. I knew I'd need to confront her eventually, but not yet. I wanted her to feel the weight of what I'd found. I wanted her to know I wasn't some fool she could manipulate anymore. And Jake, damn, I'd play this smart. I'd get my revenge, but I'd do it on my own terms. I left her purse on the bathroom counter, took the evidence on my phone, and went back to our room. My hands were still trembling. I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins. I knew I'd cross a line today, one I couldn't uncross, but I wasn't going to let this destroy me without a fight. When she finally came out of the bathroom, I was sitting on the edge of the bed, cold fury in my eyes. She looked surprised, maybe even a little scared. Good, that was a start. Morning, she said, trying to sound casual. Did you sleep okay? I looked at her, trying to keep my voice steady. We need to talk, I said softly but with a deadly calm. And I mean now, this can't wait. She hesitated, then sat down across from me. Her face was pale, and I could see the flicker of panic in her eyes. That's when I pulled out my phone, laid the pictures on the bed between us. Care to explain what's going on? I asked, my voice tight with barely contained rage. Because I've got everything right here, your messages, the hotel key, that note. Tell me, Lisa, how long has this been going on? She tried to speak, but no words came out. The shame and guilt hit her like a ton of bricks. I could see her hands trembling, her eyes darting around, searching for some lie to cover this mess. But I didn't give her the chance. I just stared at her and waited. That's when she finally broke. Her voice cracked as she tried to justify herself, but I wasn't interested in her excuses. I'd heard enough. The betrayal cut too deep. I knew I had to choose my next step carefully, but whatever I decided, this was the end of the line for us. After that confrontation, everything felt different, like the air in the room had thickened with unspoken truths and impending decisions. She sat there, trembling, eyes brimming with tears, and I could feel a cold numbness creeping in alongside the anger. I wanted to scream, to shake her, but I knew I had to keep my head clear. I couldn't let my emotions run wild just yet. I spent my whole life trusting you, I said, voice low and controlled, though my hands shook slightly. And you just threw it all away, with Jake, my best friend. How could you think I'd never find out? How could you do this to me? She looked down, her fingers twisting in her lap. Her voice was barely a whisper. I don't know what to say. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. Didn't mean for it. I shot back, feeling a surge of rage. That makes it okay. You think I'm stupid. You've been lying to me for weeks, maybe longer. You're hiding things, sneaking around, and for what? A stupid affair. Or maybe just because you were bored. She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Please, I never wanted to hurt you. I was confused, and I didn't know how to stop. I couldn't stand to see her like this. It made my stomach turn, but I also knew I couldn't let her manipulate me anymore. I had to be strategic. I needed more than just words. I needed a plan. Right now, I was still in shock, but I knew I'd use this moment to set the stage for what was coming next. You lied, cheated, and now you expect me to just forgive you. No way, not after I've seen everything, I said, voice cold. But I'm not just going to walk away. I need to make sure you understand exactly what you've done. Her eyes widened and she looked like she wanted to say something, but I cut her off. I've got everything on my phone, and trust me, I'm going to use it. But I'm giving you a chance to come clean. Tell me what you want to do, because I'm done being the sucker in this story. She looked desperate, her tears still flowing. Please don't do this, I love you, I made a mistake. That's not enough, I said, voice sharper now. You've broken every trust I ever had, I can't just forget this. We're done, but before I go I want one thing, just one thing. What? She asked, voice trembling. Pack your bags and leave, I said, standing slowly. You're out of my life for good. I want the keys to the house, your phone, everything. Don't contact me again, not until I say so. She looked stunned, almost like she didn't believe I'd actually follow through. You're serious? Dead serious, I replied, voice firm. You've been caught. No more lies, no more excuses. I want you gone today. She nodded slowly, tears still falling, and reached for her purse. I watched her silently, feeling a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. I'd played this scene over in my head so many times, but now that it was happening, it still didn't feel real. A few minutes later, she handed me the keys to her car and the house. I took them, feeling the weight of betrayal heavy in my hand. I handed her back her phone and she hurriedly stuffed it into her purse. She tried to say something, probably an apology or maybe a plea for forgiveness, but I didn't want to hear it. Go pack and leave, I repeated, voice cold and final. And don't come back, not until I tell you to. She hesitated, then turned and disappeared into the bedroom. I could hear her sobbing quietly. My stomach twisted, but I forced myself to stay calm. The plan was in motion now, and I knew this was the beginning of the end. As she packed her stuff, I stood in the living room, feeling the adrenaline fade into a strange emptiness. I'd done what I needed to do. The betrayal was laid bare, and now I had to face the aftermath. I didn't know what would happen next, but one thing was clear. I'd never trust anyone that way again. Trust, once broken, is a hard thing to rebuild. And I wasn't sure I wanted to. She finally finished packing in silence, her movements sluggish and defeated. I watched her, feeling strange mixture of satisfaction and emptiness. Every bag she zipped up felt like sealing her fate, but it also left me feeling hollow. I never wanted it to come to this, but her betrayal had left me no choice. I handed her the keys to her car and the house, watching as she clutched them like a lifeline. Take your keys, I said, voice flat, and don't bother trying to call or text. I want no contact until I tell you otherwise. She looked at me, eyes swollen, lips trembling. Her voice cracked as she whispered, please, can we just talk? Maybe fix this. I cut her off. You had your chance, I'm done, pack your shit and go. She hesitated, then turned and stumbled into the bedroom. I heard her rummaging through her suitcase, her sobs muffled but relentless. I stayed in the living room, staring at the doorway, feeling every bit of the anger and heartbreak weighing down on me. My fists clenched, but I kept my face stone cold. This was it. The end of something I thought was unbreakable. I never thought I'd be sitting here, pushing away the woman I loved and trusted. But she'd shattered that trust with one stupid, selfish act. I'd spent years building our life, and she'd chosen to destroy it for a few nights of passion with Jake. I knew I needed to get out of there soon. I didn't want to be around when she left, didn't want to see the tears or hear the pleas. I just wanted to get away from the wreckage she'd left behind. But I also knew I had to do something about Jake, the guy I'd called my best friend. I couldn't let him get away with this. As she finished packing and came out with her suitcase, her face was pale, eyes red from crying. She looked at me once more, a mixture of regret and desperation in her voice. I'm sorry, I really am. I never meant for things to turn out like this. I took a deep breath, fighting the surge of anger. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't erase what you did. But I'll say this, if you think that's the end of it, you're wrong. I'm going to make sure you regret this, and Jake too. She looked at me, confused and scared. What do? You mean? I stepped closer, voice low and dangerous. You're not getting away with this. I've got plans to make sure you understand just how much you screwed up. And Jake, he's going to wish he never crossed me. She backed away slightly, her eyes searching mine. What are you going to do? I let a small, cold smile creep onto my face. You'll see. Just remember, this isn't over, not yet. With that, she turned and left the room, heading out the door. I lingered for a moment, listening to her fading footsteps. Then I picked up my phone and dialed a number I knew I'd need. My hands were still trembling, but I managed to keep my voice steady. "Hey, it's me," I said, voice calm but firm. "I've got everything I need. Time to execute the plan." I hung up and looked around the empty apartment. The silence was deafening, like the final nail in the coffin of what we once had. I knew I'd be better off without her, but that didn't make the ache any easier. Still, I'd come too far to turn back now. I slipped my phone into my pocket. There was no turning back. The revenge was about to begin, and I was ready. Whatever Jake or Lisa thought they could get away with, they'd learn the hard way that betrayal always comes with consequences, and I'd make sure they paid. Now all I had to do was wait and watch as the plan unfolded. I could already feel my pulse quickening, adrenaline rushing through my veins. The game was on. I waited in my car outside the apartment for about 20 minutes, just watching the door, feeling every nerve in my body tighten. I knew I'd made up my mind, but the waiting didn't make it any easier. My mind kept replaying her face when she left, the way her voice cracked, her trembling hands clutching the suitcase. I was furious, yes, but underneath it all, I felt a strange sense of calm, like I'd finally taken control of a situation I couldn't fix with words. The first step was simple. I made sure I had everything I needed: photos, messages, hotel details, all ready for what I planned next. I wanted to hit Jake where it hurt, and I knew exactly how. I've been quiet about it, playing the long game. Now it was time to act. The plan was straightforward but ruthless. I would let Jake know I had all the proof, then I'd corner him in a way that left no room for his lies. I wasn't interested in a messy fight or some petty revenge. No, this had to be calculated. I wanted him to feel like his world was crumbling, just like mine had moments ago. I pulled my phone out, double-checked the pictures I'd taken, his messages, her hotel key, the note, and sent a quick message to Jake. Just 3 words: "We need to talk." I didn't want to seem obvious, so I kept it vague. Then I turned off my phone, not wanting him to trace me or get antsy. I needed to be the one controlling this. I took a deep breath, exhaled slowly, and then started the engine. My heart was pounding, but I kept my expression neutral. I knew Jake well enough. He'd try to deny everything, act innocent, or even turn the tables. But I had the upper hand now. I'd made sure of that. I headed toward his place, a nondescript apartment about 20 minutes away. I'd parked a few streets down and walked in quietly. I didn't want to make a scene. Instead, I knocked firmly on his door, steeling myself for what was coming. When he opened it, his face was confused, probably expecting some sort of casual chat or maybe even a beer. But I showed him my phone, holding it up so he could see the evidence. "Got a minute?" I asked, voice steady but cold. He hesitated but finally stepped aside. "Yeah, sure, what's going on?" I pushed the phone closer. "You tell me. Because I've got everything right here: your messages, her hotel key, that note you wrote her. This isn't some mistake. You've been lying to me, Jake." He looked stunned, then annoyed. "Look, man, I don't know what you think you've got." "Oh, I think you do," I interrupted. "I've been watching this for weeks. You and Lisa sleeping together, planning your next move. How long has this been going on? Are you even sorry?" His face darkened. "Look, I didn't start this. She came onto me." "Bullshit," I snapped. "You're her best friend. You knew exactly what you were doing, and I was stupid enough to trust you." He lowered his eyes, then looked back up, trying to seem nonchalant. "Look, I didn't mean for it to go this far. It was a mistake, all right? I swear I never wanted to hurt you." "Oh, you swear?" I sneered. "Well, I've got one thing to say. You're going to regret this, Jake. I'm done being the fool in my own life." He looked like he wanted to say more, but I cut him off again. "You're going to wish you never crossed me. Trust me, I've got plans, big ones." He looked nervously at my phone, then at me. "What are you gonna do?" I let a slow, vicious smile spread across my face. "You'll see. Just know I've got enough dirt on you to make your life hell, and if you think I'm joking, you're dead wrong." I turned to leave, feeling the rush of adrenaline again. "Don't contact me, not unless I say so. Understand?" He nodded, defeated. I knew this wasn't the end, far from it, but it was enough for now. I had struck first, and I'd made damn sure Jake understood I wasn't someone to mess with. As I walked back to my car, I felt a strange mixture of relief and something darker, satisfaction maybe, or something close to it. I'd taken control, made him feel the weight of what he'd done. And I knew deep down that revenge was just beginning. There was more to come, and I was ready for it. The days that followed were a blur of cold detachment and quiet planning. I didn't wait around feeling sorry for myself. Instead, I used the momentum to cut ties completely. Lisa moved out that afternoon, clutching a single suitcase, her face blank and hollow. She didn't argue, didn't plead. She just looked at me with those tired, defeated eyes, and I felt a strange sense of finality. Yeah, I was hurt, furious, but at least I knew I'd taken back some control. As she left, I handed her the last of her things, and she whispered a broken apology that I refused to take seriously. Watching her walk out, I realized I'd been living in a trust I built myself. She smashed it into pieces, and honestly, I'd never trust anyone that way again. The betrayal had changed me. I knew that now. But I also knew one thing for sure. I wouldn't be the fool anymore. Once she was gone, I took the time to clear out everything that reminded me of her. Photos, gifts, that stupid little note from Jake. I didn't want to keep anything that tethered me to the wreckage of what was. I needed space to breathe, to heal, and most of all, to rebuild. My next move was straightforward. I called Jake. No more games, no more pretending. I met him at a quiet cafe a few towns over where we could talk without anyone overhearing. I sat across from him, feeling my jaw tighten as I stared him down. "You thought you could get away with this, huh?" I said, voice low and precise. "You've been lying, sneaking around, and now I've got proof. You really thought I wouldn't find out." He looked uncomfortable but managed to hold my gaze. "Listen, I didn't mean for it to get so messy. I was drunk, stupid. I cut him off sharply. "You're damn right you were. You're supposed to be my best friend. And here you are sleeping with my wife, lying to my face all this time. That's not stupid, that's betrayal, Jake. And you're damn lucky I don't have you on the ground right now." He shifted in his seat, trying to look apologetic but failing. "I never wanted to hurt you, honestly. It just happened. I didn't think it was going to go this far." I scoffed. "You didn't think? You think that makes it okay? You crossed every line I thought we had. And I'm not the kind of guy who just moves on after that." I paused, feeling the weight of what I was about to do. "Here, what's next? I've got your messages, your hotel key, everything. I'm calling your boss, your wife, and anyone I need to, because you don't deserve the peace you're trying to cling to. You want to play innocent, fine, but I'll make damn sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you are." His eyes widened. "You're not serious." "Oh, I am," I said coldly. "And I won't stop until everyone knows what you did. You want to be the villain, be my guest, but I'll be the one rewriting the story." When I left that cafe, I felt an incredible sense of liberation. It was like shedding a skin I'd been forced to wear for too long. For the first time in weeks, I felt in control of my life again, even if it was a hard, painful control. Back home, I took a moment to breathe, looking around at the empty apartment. The silence was deafening but oddly comforting now. I knew this was the end of that chapter. I'd handed the keys over, filed the necessary papers, and made sure the weight of betrayal was fully out of my life. As I sat on the couch, I reflected on everything. Trust is fragile. It can be broken in a second, and once shattered, it's nearly impossible to fix. But what I'd learned, what I wanted to tell anyone listening, was that sometimes you have to cut your losses, pick up the pieces, and move on. Revenge isn't about petty payback. It's about reclaiming your dignity and making sure the people who betrayed you understand exactly how much damage they've done. I picked up my phone one last time and sent a simple message to Lisa. "Keys are on the table. I won't be contacting you. Take care of yourself." Then I walked over to the nearby filing cabinet, pulled out the divorce papers I'd prepared, and signed my name without hesitation. That was the moment I knew I was done. No more lies, no more betrayal. Just a clean break, a fresh start. And honestly, it felt damn good. Sometimes the only way to regain your footing is to cut the cord and walk away, regardless of how brutal it feels in the moment. Because in the end, the only person you can truly count on is yourself.